Welcome everyone to the next episode of Six Figure Certified Coach.
Welcome back. We have an exciting episode today.
Really exciting. So I wanted to record this episode today because this has been such a hot topic in our lives, aka your life, but now we're sharing.
I know.
We always share lives.
But every time we talk about this or someone goes through it, I feel like it connects to everyone. So
right.
It's important.
So I don't want this whole episode to be me interviewing you, but it might end up being a little bit like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I have always been a firm believer that your business is your best friend, your confidant. Like
I thought I was your best friend and your confidant.
We're not talking about business partners, guys. That's a different episode.
Gotcha.
But for me, I'll share for myself first. Okay. So for me, I promise this is ginger ale. Okay, so for me, over the past 10 years that I've been an entrepreneur, I have been in many relationships, but I've stayed consistent in my business. And I feel like your business can be such a rock for you in your life if you set it up like that. And if you're loyal to it, right? Like so many people go through so many phases in business. Like we all know those entrepreneurs who are like, I'm launching this. Oh, wait, I'm launching this. Oh, wait, now I'm doing this. And they're all over the place. But for us, we've really built a consistent brand, a consistent company that we pour love into. Of course, there's different phases. Mm-hmm. But while the business is consistent, sometimes what's going on in your personal life is not consistent.
Typically always for me. Yeah.
So we talk a lot about building something that's worth living for, that's worth waking up for every day. Like that is your purpose because you decide it's your purpose, right? So I know you don't have to get into the details, but I know you've been going through some stuff in your personal life. And I'm just wondering, like, what is your relationship to our business as something that is consistent for you when maybe sometimes other things aren't consistent? I'm being cryptic. You can be as honest as you want.
I appreciate that. Well, I mean, I've been through a lot in terms of personal relationships, as you know, and I do think that a lot of people in our community know. But I think what I always do is I'm like, at the end of the day, like I always have the company. And I think some people might say that sounds bad, right? Like your company's not going to keep you warm at night, but our company actually does keep me warm at night because it pays all the bills and it keeps my, AC on, electricity on. So I don't know. I tend to think that if you have something that you actually love, that is dependable, that is built on a solid foundation and is truly something that brings you joy, it does make breakdowns in other relationships a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like we were talking about this earlier with our makeup artists, like you have to have so I think so many of us as women, we just want a place to pour our love into.
Right.
And that's why often we go from relationship to relationship, putting in way more than we're getting out, right?
Yeah.
And so your business is a little bit more cut and dry. It's a little less emotional. It's a little more.
Well, that's why I like it. It's like if I work, I was telling someone this the other day, I'm like, if I work more, I literally will make more money.
Right.
If I pour into, this relationship, it's not guaranteed.
But you've always said that. Like you've always said, like, I know how to manage work. Like I know how to manage.
I've like cracked the code. Yeah, for sure.
Which is what? Like tell us what's the code, Liv.
I can't tell you that. That's for another episode. But no, I mean, it's just staying committed.
Okay.
And I think that's also a piece of it. It's like I have stayed committed in other relationships that didn't actually pay me back or didn't actually, come to fruition or didn't actually do their part. Whereas I feel like in business, I always see results and it's just, to me, so much more dependable.
Well, that's actually really interesting. Like the topic of commitment in business, because I feel that so many people, and like we're in the life coaching industry, right? So like our whole first season was about how passionate we feel about people being certified and being legitimate as coaches. So you guys, if you haven't, go back and listen to that because we really make a strong case for that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in an industry where you don't have to be certified. You don't have to have credentials. Like literally whoever can go be like, I'm a life
anything
coach,
goes.
which we hate, but it's real.
Yeah, please go get trained if you're watching this.
But what happens, and this is not all coaches, and people come to us all the time saying, I want to be a life coach, but I want it to be legitimate. How do I do that? And our answer is always get certified by a company that you feel is a good match for you, right? Which we hope is our company, but we want you to get certified by someone who you feel aligns with your values, who's credentialed by the International Coach Federation, who has that stamp of approval. Anyways, this brings me back to commitment because I feel like this industry, and we're not the only industry, I think it's a lot of solopreneurial type industries, attract people who have commitment issues.
Well,
and
that's
they jump
right.
around.
You quit your job, you move from this thing to the next thing to the next thing. And it's like,
they jump around from job to job, from gig to gig, right? And I get it. Like we live in the gig economy. There's nothing wrong with having multiple things going on, multiple sources of income. What is it? The average millionaire has 7 sources of income.
Yeah.
Right? So we want that for you and we want that for ourselves, but we also want you to be committed to something. And relationships are a place where you can't control the other person's commitment, right? You can't. You have to date around and find the right person, and it takes time.
Right.
And it takes weeding out. But business is a place where you can be committed. So if you're not committed to your business, but you're expecting your business to be committed to you, that's bullshit.
Right. But also your business doesn't have emotions or like psychological disorders. So it's actually much easier.
Although your business can have an astrological chart.
It can have an
which
astrological chart, sure. But like, I also find like, you're like, what's the secret sauce or whatever? Like, what is the key to business? It's actually just continuing to do it. Do you know how many people give up because they don't get like a result right away?
Right.
And it's like, no, like if you actually broke down everything you were doing, it's easy to pinpoint an exact breakdown in your business. I can probably do it for anyone's business in 30 seconds.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? We did this last night. We're like, this is working, this is working, this is working, but the overall thing isn't working, right? We can pinpoint the exact problem and we can do something about it. You can take a relationship though, and I can say, listen, I know you're lying. I can't make him stop or her stop or them stop, right?
Right.
But in business, you actually can dissect the problem and problem solve and troubleshoot until you get it done.
Right.
You don't have that control over the other human beings. And I know this might sound a little crazy or like I'm trying to control people. That's not it. But falling back to a business or falling forward to a business or just staying committed to a business is a guarantee. People think it's not, oh, business is so risky. So many businesses fail. You don't fail a business. You quit. Mm-hmm. You quit your business. There's no failing. You literally choose to quit or you choose to succeed. Yeah.
We've always said, like, take giving up off the table. If you take giving up off the table, if giving up's not an option, then all you can do is look at other options. Like actually look at solutions.
Right. Is your product good or your service good? Is your marketing need to be improved? Like what KPI or key performance indicator is not, firing the way you need it to? It's like not that hard, in my opinion, to figure out how to be successful. Romantic
I get so frustrated because like people like friends will be like, I just don't understand. Like I'm really struggling in my business. And I'm like, it's just like, you have to make more money than you're spending.
Right.
Like it's that simple. And that's why in our coach training, we don't just teach you how to become a coach. We don't just teach you how to market. We teach you how to manage your finances, how to make sure that you're getting a return on your investment.
Right.
Because the biggest mistake early entrepreneurs make is that they sit there and they invest and they invest and they invest. And they're like, why am I not getting anything in return?
Right.
Or why am I spending more than I am making? It's so simple.
But this is interesting because as you're saying that, I'm like, oh, like people can like blindly run a business. How many people do we know that like are like, oh, I don't really have a business bank account or I haven't really set up a business. I'm making all this money, but I'm just giving it directly to myself. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like being very blind and unorganized. And I think that's also evidence of a lack of commitment. Right? It's like if you were truly committed to your business, you would be paying attention to all the details.
Well, it's about like setting up your life to have the things that you say you want to have before you have
What
them.
has people in business or relationships choosing to stay blind to the details?
I'll do it when, right? Like this is a silly example, but like I want to have a baby. Like my husband and I want to get pregnant. That's like very TMI.
No, it's what? I want to have another
Well,
baby.
people are always like, literally,
I don't even
people,
have a
as soon as you
husband.
get married, people are like, are you trying to get pregnant? And they're like, that's weird because like when
No, it's not TMI. Everyone listening.
my mom's like, are you
say a
guys
prayer
trying?
for
I'm like,
Katie.
yes, I'm having sex with my husband. Thanks, Mom. Like, anyways, so
Don't worry, I've got evidence. I'm just
but I like had this thing going like, I'm very bad with routine. Like Olivia's an early riser. Like she's very, like we're just different about our schedules.
But that's
And-
only because I already have kids. It's forced.
okay, fine. Anyways, so my point is that I've been saying to myself, I'm going to be on such a different schedule when I have kids. And then I was like, oh my God, maybe like I feel this need in my life. You know, sometimes you just feel like something, right? You need to be meditating more, or you need to be moving more and exercising more. I've been feeling like I need to be on more of a routine, more of a schedule. But then I've had this thing of like, but I'll do it when I have kids. But then I'm not like getting pregnant when I want to or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but like if I also feel this need to be on more of a schedule, I can do that now. So I think there's these things like people are like, I'll open a business bank account once I make $50,000, right? Open a business bank account when I'm making $100,000, or we make these all like, I'll do that when.
Yeah, a lot
And
of
it's
rules.
like the things that you say that you'll do them when something else happens. I think God or the universe or life or your future clients or whatever, they need to see you doing those things now. Like
Yeah.
the structural things. I think we've gotten so into this whole like, I'm going to be feminine and go with the flow and whatever. And we're missing a lot of like the structure that we need to be able to be dependable to ourselves and to our businesses. I do believe our businesses are energetic entities and that they expect things of us.
Well, they're separate from us. And I think we've always talked about that. Like there's
Sure.
you, there's me, and there's the business.
Sure, it's a third party.
And if we are talking about masculine and feminine, it's like we all have those elements in us, and so does the business. Like
Sure.
it actually requires masculine elements.
And
And it doesn't mean we're masculine. It means that the
I am.
business requires them.
Okay.
Well, she is. She's not. I mean, everyone is.
I have a lot of masculine. Okay, when Deborah Silverman read my chart, she was like, you have so much masculine and so much feminine that like, she said to me, I have this call that I did with her. This is such a tangent. I had a call that I did with her before Adam and like when we were starting to date. And she was like, any guy you date, like you bring so much masculine to the table
Wow.
that like you're going to need a man that can like really bring it. Here's another story. We're not going to go deeply into it. If you want to, you can read about it in my book, obviously, or like we've talked about it a lot. But I lost my brother in 2015. It was very tragic. It was very difficult. It was very hard. However, I feel, and I wrote about this so much in my book, that my business saved my life because I could have gotten so depressed. I definitely have struggled with mental health, still do here and there. Like, who doesn't, to be honest? But I had my business to wake up for. I had all these women that like worked for us or were our clients, and I couldn't disappoint all of them. And that's the other thing that I feel is like when you have a business, whether you have one client or you have 1 million people following you on the internet that are your clients or your followers, however you look at it, you have something bigger than you, like an extension of you to show up for. And like you've always said to me, if you didn't have your kids, it would be so much easier to like sleep in and get depressed but you can't.
I
right?
can't. I mean, I feel like I can't because I feel like I have a level of accountability and responsibility to them, but I also feel that way about the company.
Right. Business,
And-
babies, whatever you're working on in your life.
But you
like-
have to also love it on such a deep level that you want to be accountable to it, that you want to respect it.
Yeah.
And I do think that we talk a lot in this season about like what it takes to be an entrepreneur and the obstacles that you have to be willing to face and overcome.
Yeah.
And I do think that being willing to face the obstacles and choose to overcome them and try again and solve that same problem again and again and again, it takes like true love, right?
Yeah.
And
it's
so
true love,
I
dedication, commitment, like you said.
and I think that I get it. Like I would say the business saved my life many times and through many different things, but if I didn't love it so much, I wouldn't have let it save me.
I have this like sticky note that I've just like had for years. It's like hidden in my desk, and then I like put it on a binder or whatever. But it says, replace work with quotes with love. And like, you know how we say like, I have to work, right? So
Yeah.
I would try to train myself to say like, instead of work, love. So I have to love. And it's like, I have to go love. I have to go
pure.
I have to go put my heart back into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I feel like work is, it can be, it's not this for everyone, but it can be. And I think what the ultimate is for it to be our greatest contribution of our lives. And we talk about leaving a legacy, and we talk about, you know, being committed to something and showing up. And the reality is that your business can be the place that you like channel all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know personally, like I want more, right? And I want, you know, deeper relationships and a partner and a husband and blah, blah, blah. But I do ask myself sometimes, like, is this enough? And usually the answer is yes. Like I do get a lot of my needs met and my desires met through the work that we do and through the kids.
Well, and I think
through myself.
I think there's so many women. I think the point here is like there's so many people who feel that like love and romantic partnership is like the only way to get those needs met and to feel like they matter. And the reality is that if you also have a pulling on your heart to start a business and to grow a business and to make a contribution, like it's not going to take the place of, but it's a really, really important thing for you to listen to and contribute to. It's like when women say like, I want to have a child, like I feel that it's a similar calling. Like I want to write a book. I want to have a baby. I want to have a business. Like all these things that we feel this pull to birth into the world. Right. Like you have to actually go and do those things. And for us, that has been, you know, we've had different projects, but the main one has been a life coaching business and having businesses where women are able to come and get trained and learn how to be coaches themselves. And it's just like the gift that keeps on giving. But if we hadn't taken those risks early on and said like, you know, I mean, your whole journey into becoming a coach was like leaving your teaching job, which was something that you loved but had issues with. Yeah. Right. And then also at the same time, leaving a relationship. Yeah. And like you sort of like drove, like there's this whole story that you tell, but you literally drove into your future.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the bottom line, okay? Like a business, it's not going to leave you. You can leave it, but it's not going to leave you. It can't cheat on you. You can cheat on it, but it can't cheat on you. Do you know what I'm saying? It can't lie to you. You can lie to yourself about what you're actually putting into your business, but your business isn't going to lie to you. It's actually numbers, like most of it. Yeah. It's all statistics. It's all data. Like it's not going to lie. And so I hate to say it like that, but it is a guarantee if you stay committed to it.
It's also an escape, like in a positive way.
Right. It's like, do I want to run to the club and go drinking after a breakup? Actually, no, I like throw myself more into business than ever. Lucky you.
When my brother passed away, like things felt so shaky, but the business was still very stable. Right. And that was because I had created it in that way. And there were other people that were involved. And, you know, it's this place where you can contribute to other people. And when you contribute to other people, it takes you out of your own pain.
It actually makes you feel better. Yeah. Yeah. I genuinely get a sense of peace and fulfillment by like contributing and giving back and connecting with other people. Yeah. Instead of sulking in my own self-pity. Yeah. You know, whatever what happens in life, you know?
So your life is bigger than you, right? Like you have to actually create places in your life that exist beyond whatever's going on with you in the moment. And we all have ups and downs in our lives. Like everybody. Whether it's death or divorce or breakups or health stuff, like we've both gone through all of those. And what stayed consistent, the through line through all of it is our company. But that's because we kept showing up for it, even when it felt really hard, even when we were really tired, even when we were depressed or stressed or all these things. And so having this thing that you can continue to pour your love into, even when it feels like life isn't loving you back, like eventually the payoff is there.
Right. So ultimately, like, are you building something worth living for and loving for? I think is what we're
living
really
and
talking
loving.
about. So another thing that you've always brought to my attention, like since the beginning, is that ultimately businesses are just like relationships. We talk about like even in IGC, we're like, are you dating your business? Are you committed to your business? Are you flirting with the idea of business? Are you cheating on your business with like another business or a part-time job or a full-time job or whatever? And just like we were talking about being blind to some of the flaws in relationships, we don't want to be blind to some of the flaws in our business either. And it also got me thinking about like, what are some of the red flags in relationships? I mean, we could go on and on about that, but there's also some red flags that we ignore in business.
Sure.
And I think one of the most common ones we run into are these coaches who are like, oh, I'm a coach. But they have no training. They have no idea what they're doing. And the red flag is like, they're just ignoring the whole red flag that they don't actually have the confidence to facilitate the transformation.
That's like saying you're in a relationship with someone, but then like being like cheating on the side, right? Like,
right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like there's probably more. I mean, what would you say is another red flag in business?
I think like we talked about this before, but like saying you're committed when you're not actually committed.
Right. Or not knowing your numbers. That's a huge one, especially for women in business.
But you know what my husband would do is he would be like, I'm not ready for all this. But then he would like be committed. He was like the opposite.
That's a red flag.
He was like, I was telling someone this the other day, like he was like the opposite. He was like, I'm so afraid of like commitment, but like he was like showing up all the time. So I think sometimes if we're going to parallel to business, like we're not sure, like sometimes we might have, okay, so we really encourage people to keep their full-time job if it's fulfilling them and if it's still a healthy relationship while they're building their side business.
And it's also their investor.
That being said, the side business that's like the side piece could be like really growing and really expanding and really being what?
Oh my God, they're going to choose the other woman.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like sometimes it happens faster.
Yeah.
Like Ashley Milky is like such a great example of someone who told herself she would leave her job by the end of coach training and then ends up leaving it in like 90 days.
Yeah.
Right? Because she was doing so well. Sometimes like you're still scared. That's what I think, like Adam was just scared, but the relationship was more ready and it was
Oh,
do you get what I'm saying? And
so seeing the relationship almost as a separate thing, like we see the business.
Yeah, like sometimes the business
It's
actually
complex.
is maturing
Yeah.
and growing faster. So my point is like for people who get into, let's say, a training program and say, okay, they're like, I want to be out of my full-time job within a year or 2 years. Don't be afraid if it happens faster.
I know. It's so funny. People always like are afraid it's going to take too long, but no one ever expects that it might actually happen faster.
Right.
I would even say that with relationships. Like we were talking about, like you and Adam were like dating pretty quickly after your previous relationship.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
you had
2
a
days.
friendship quite for a couple years before, but it's like, I've just gone through another breakup and I'm like, how long do I wait to start dating again? How long? And I'm like, it's not always about like the rules, I guess.
You literally asked me this morning if my husband was my rebound. And what was my answer?
Yes. No hesitation.
But like my point is that, I did love Adam. He was my friend, right? So I loved him and I was pouring love into that relationship.
Right.
You may be putting a lot of energy into your day job or maybe business A, but you start business B on the side and you're like, wow, this is actually so much easier.
I want to love this a lot more.
Like so many people go through coach training and they're like, oh my God, I can make $200 in an hour. Like this is so easy. This is so fast. Like I'm a makeup artist and it takes, I don't get to make that much that fast or I do whatever it is. Right. So I think that sometimes the relationship can evolve faster than you plan for it.
Yeah. And I think that we so often think of the worst. And I think that's one of the things that we talk about a lot. It's like, why don't we take what's probable, what you hear other people's experience are like off the table, right? Like, yeah, a lot of businesses fail, whatever. And like, I probably won't be able to make it, but it's actually possible that you make it and you make it a lot faster than you ever thought was even possible.
Yeah, but you have to go in there, whether it's relationships or business, saying, I'm going to be the anomaly.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that when I first met you, I was like, she can do it, but I can't do it. She has this like great, exciting life.
Stop.
But I'm
so
dead
weird.
serious. Like I literally was like, oh my God, Katie's doing this crazy thing. And I never even considered it an option for myself. Do you know what I'm saying?
Did.
Until I finally did.
But like what changed?
Well,
this is
I don't remember.
2013.
I just realized I was like, wait, I guess this sounds so corny, but like if she can do it, I can do it. And then I was like, nah, and like put it in the back burner again for a couple months or whatever.
But then you eventually got frustrated enough where you just drove away from your job.
Yeah, I did. I drove away.
Are you avoiding telling that story?
I mean, it just seems like so long ago.
Your past is someone else's future.
Okay, but I was teaching in DC and the commute alone was horrible. And I just remember one day I was like, enough is enough. And I was like, I could drive an hour in city traffic to get to my job, or I could drive an hour in the other direction and go to the beach. And so I just turned around and left forever.
Because what was happening for you in that moment?
Well, I had just finished my master's. I thought I was going to be a principal, but the school district I was in was a mess. It was my 5th year teaching there. And I just was like unhappy. I was unfulfilled. I couldn't actually do anything because there were so many rules, and like state testing was a huge thing in DC at the time. And I was like dating a guy who actually taught me a lot about like business and entrepreneurship, but not a good choice for a partner. And
you felt
I
trapped.
had broken up with him the night before, another classic story in the therapist parking lot. I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. And then I was like, well, we're just leaving it all behind. And then the next day I left the job.
I think that's really brave though.
Well, it's like you hit enough is enough. Like I always have this thing. I'm like, God, like, give me a sign, give me a sign. He's like, signs. And then it's like literally has to be like an explosion for me to take notice. So it always has to be, you know,
but
some
it's not
people
for
are
you
just,
to take notice because you notice
I
everything,
notice,
Olivia.
but
You're
like,
not dumb.
Convince myself that the signs aren't there or whatever. And then it has to be some big thing for me to move. And I wish I wasn't that way, but I'm still that way.
I think the sign is asking for the sign.
Right. If you have to ask God for a sign,
Like
it's
if you're like, God, please
why do
give
you
me
not
a
know?
sign that I should break up with this person. It's like your sign is that you're asking for a sign to break up with the person.
Right. Like if you already know you want to leave the job, it's already there. And I know with money is like harder to just leave, but
or send me a sign that
know.
I should start this business. It's
Right.
like your greatest sign is your desire.
Yeah.
If that's what you desire, if that's what you want, you have to give yourself
Why don't
a
we just
chance
listen the first time?
to ourselves?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's too many voices around us.
I know.
We need to like sit in closets and meditate or something.
I know, but that's why I love business so much, because I'm like, I always feel like I know what to do. And I always can like see if it worked or not right away.
We always know what to do. We always know how to start troubleshooting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like, how do you troubleshoot a relationship?
Not get into
Leave
trouble in the
them.
first place.
Leave them and see if they come back. Just kidding. Don't do that.
Don't
Block
leave your
them.
business. It won't come back.
Yeah, don't leave your business. I hate when people are like, I just stepped away from my business for 7 years. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just took 7 weeks off of any type of marketing. Welcome back.
I think commitment is just so, so important. And I talk about this in my book. I'm going to read like something really short.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had crazy shit going on in my life for years and years and years. And what I say here is that I continue to work toward my purpose. My purpose, specifically my work as a mindset and resilience expert and the founder of Inner Glow Circle, became my glow in the dark. I tell people that I built my business from the bed, the bathtub, and over 30 doctor's offices because I did. In the end, my business saved me. Even on the hardest days, I had something to show up for. I didn't create the hard things that happened in my life, but they were there. So I had to decide what I was going to do with them. I started to ask myself if I could take my biggest challenges and turn them into my greatest opportunities. So wherever you are in your life, like you can take your biggest challenges and turn them into opportunities. I think a really great next step that's super easy is writing down all the things that you're frustrated with, all the complaints that you have, everything you're not happy with. And then on the other side, start to write what some of the possible solutions are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to commit. Like being committed in business and in life is the thing that will set you apart from absolutely everyone else.
Right. And it's hard to you can't really stay in denial forever, I don't think. Right. So if you write this list, right, and you know the things that you want, it's like you can't throw it in a drawer. It's still going to creep up on you. It's still going to show up. You're still going to see the signs.
Self-accountability.
You're still going to be kept up at night with the dream. And it's like, just do it already.
Yeah, do it already. Do it.
And it'll be there no matter what.
Yeah. Your business bestie is the business.
Yeah. Okay, listen. So as you all know, season 2, we're taking a lot of your questions, your thoughts, your comments, feedback. You can find the link in the show notes to submit any type of coaching or business questions you have for us. But we hope you enjoyed this episode, and please share it with a friend who's either building a business, going through a breakup, or maybe about to do either of those things.
Just do it all at once. Why not?
Yeah.
Drive away from your past and into your future. Okay, we love you guys. Bye.
Love you.